is 4 days until Halloween. It's time to lock your doors. Grab your knife for the fight. You ready? You ready in case the boogeyman decides to come out and play?
I want to watch this movie. It's stupid.
You know what? Let's go.
So do you remember how the last Halloween story ended?
Yeah, Michael Myers killed everybody that Tommy convinced to attack him, even though he'd been beaten up and stabbed. And then he killed Karen. So now Laurie's about to go beast mode.
She will fuck you up.
So it's 1 year later.
Hold on, how did he even get out of the house?
I don't know. So it's 1 year later.
All the cops and paramedics were there.
I don't know. But like I said, it's 1 year later, and with Michael still on the loose, the residents of Haddonfield are sending their kids out unsupervised to trick or treat.
Michael Myers kills babysitters, not kids.
That's not true.
Is that Dennis's mask?
I'm missing dance class for this.
But the Allens actually give a crap about their kid, so they hire a 21-year-old with pedo glasses to watch theirs.
We're gonna have a good time tonight.
That sounds like a threat.
Jeremy hasn't been sleeping, thinking that Michael might get him, and Corey comforts him.
Boogeyman's gonna get you.
But these just might be some helicopter parents, because as soon as they leave, Jeremy turns into a real turd.
And I don't really feel like pretending to be best friends with an ugly ass boy babysitter.
He's not even afraid of everything like his parents think, and even fakes being attacked by Michael.
We can play hide and seek before bed. Your parents are gonna be home sooner.
Corey goes to investigate and can't find Jeremy, but then the little shit locks him in the attic right before his parents come home. You'd think for a kid that's posing as a little angel, he wouldn't want to expose himself as the devil's spawn.
Number one of all time, my dad can do the best.
But even though Corey knows the Allens are coming home soon, and that Jeremy was just pulling a prank on him, he freaks the fuck out and desperately tries to escape.
God, can't you take a joke?
But Jeremy's a moron and stands directly in front of the door that Corey is actively kicking, and it hits him, and he goes over the railing, and he dies.
Crash landing! Boom!
Oh!
I'm not playing no hide and seek. It's stupid.
We then go 3 years later, where Laurie is writing a book about evil and surviving it.
You forgot to talk about all the people that Michael killed that night.
Oh, he didn't kill anyone that we know of.
He's gone. He's gone from here. The evil is gone.
What, he went on an insane killing spree and then just stopped? What, he's not allowed to kill once Halloween's over?
Well, if you take away Judith, the only reason that he kills on Halloween is because the stupid people at Smith's Grove keep transferring him on that day. I mean, shit. See what happens if you transfer him on St. Patrick's Day.
It's not nice to make fun of a leprechaun.
So now you're a leprechaun.
Anyway, the book Laurie's writing is about Michael, and the way some people are still blaming other murders on him.
You think he's come back?
Michael doesn't use guns.
And how some people can't move on.
It's a little part of me for you.
Laurie talks about how since Michael isn't around to be the town's boogeyman, that they created others, like Corey.
Are you telling me that the end of the Halloween story isn't going to have Michael Myers in it?
Michael's around someplace.
No, he's in it. I mean, sometimes.
You can't close your eyes and pretend he isn't there, because he is.
But back on Laurie. She's bought a house in town with Allison and is decorating for Halloween.
She what?
Someone's getting into the spirit of things.
The woman who built a mini fort in the woods because she was afraid a man in a maximum security nut house would escape now lives in town and is decorating for the holiday that all of her friends and family were murdered on, with the killer still on the loose.
Shut up. She says she doesn't want to live in fear anymore. She's even baking a pumpkin pie for Allison because it's tradition. Well, it's a tradition, not one of hers, since she's probably used to being on high alert jumping in shadows all week, but it's what's normal to do on Halloween, and she's gonna do it.
But it's also the anniversaries of everybody's deaths. Why would they celebrate that?
Hey, Allison's cool with all this too.
We're both fucked up.
She was even thinking about going to a Halloween party, but since she doesn't have a date, she's gonna skip it. And that's how we go back to Corey. He's working at an auto repair shop because apparently engineering schools won't take you if you're suspected of murdering a child.
Fuck college.
But his boss gives him shit about being late and gives him an old shitty motorcycle, hoping that he can get there on time.
Cheap piece of shit.
After work, he goes to a gas station where a gang of teenagers try to intimidate him.
Or in the fucking Martian van.
They need him to buy beer for him because their fake ID got confiscated, probably because they were trying to buy alcohol while wearing their school uniforms.
You're getting a fake ID and you're wearing a shirt that says you're in high school.
They want Corey to get it for him, and when he says no, they start teasing him about being a murderer. But this makes Corey mad, and he squeezes his bottle too hard, and one of the band geeks pushes him onto the glass, because he got chocolate milk on his romper. And his mom must scotch guard the crap out of his clothes because nothing's on it a few seconds later. But Laurie scares him off.
Alright, you meatheads, joke's over.
And after they slash their tires, she takes him to the ER where Allison works. And as soon as Corey walks in bleeding from getting beat up by some band geeks, she takes one look at his pedo glasses and is like, hubba hubba, who is that?
He is so sexy, it's a little too much to take.
After she stitches him up, he waits around until she gets off work to take a look at her car that he can't even fix. And because of this, she asks him out, and he tells her no.
No, thank you.
But after her grandma tells her that she needs to find someone who makes her feel alive, she texts Corey, who gets punished by his mommy for using his phone at the dinner table.
Boys who keep secrets don't get custard for dessert.
We also see that his boss, who is giving him shit about being late all the time, is also his stepdad, who he lives with, and says not to tell his mom about the motorcycle.
He's grown. He can do what he wants.
Why not?
Well, he said that he hurt his hand at work because it's better than saying children kicked his ass, but now she wants him to work at a call center where he can't get any more boo-boos.
It's nice to know somebody's out there looking out for her.
The next day, Allison brings her car into the shop where she pretends that she wants to get her car fixed, but she really wants Corey pressed up against her. Who knows why?
He's handsome.
But she's not the only one in the family getting their flirt on. Laurie bumps into Frank at the grocery store, and they talk very awkwardly at each other.
I don't know.
All right, so in the last story, Frank wanted to track Michael down. So he's the one that's gonna go get him.
He needs to die. And I'm the one that's gonna get him.
Nope. He also joined the Who Gives a Shit club.
You're breaking my heart.
He's retired and now concentrating on his hobbies.
I got myself a guitar at the pawn shop.
But as she leaves, Laurie's confronted by the lady, whose sister is the lady with the bathroom on her porch, who survived Michael's light bulb attack, proving that neck stabs don't mean shit in this franchise.
That ought to kill him.
But the sister blames Laurie for provoking Michael and getting her brother-in-law killed and her sister stabbed. And then Frank comes out, and all he has to do is explain that he was there too, and it was all Sartain's fault. But no, he just wants to comfort Laurie.
I was hoping for more.
That night, Allison takes Corey to Lindsay's Halloween party, which is really just costume night at a bar. And it seems now that Buzzkill Tommy is dead, people are actually having a good time.
Oh, it's just so nice that these people are having such a wonderful time on the anniversary of their family and friends' deaths, while the killer is still on the loose.
I mean, what, a couple people getting killed by one guy with a knife is not that big of a deal.
That is a very big deal.
Will you get over that? We're gonna get to him.
So Lindsay's in the Who Gives a Shit club too?
Yeah, and for some reason, she's really into tarot cards. And she also might have spiked Corey's drink because he starts dancing on the floor, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Never, ever, ever lay on the floor of a bar. And that goes for the fancy chain ones, but this is a piece of shit dive bar in a small nothing town. I guarantee that thing has not been professionally cleaned in decades.
Gross! He's dirty.
So Corey goes to get another drink and runs into Jeremy's mom, and she is not happy to see him.
Corey, you're a lifesaver.
So he leaves, and Allison follows, but he breaks things off with her, and she just stands there like, "Please, sir, may I have some more?"
I mean, you can't walk all over town breaking hearts. Hey, all right?
But the band geeks recognize Corey from behind, in the dark, while they're driving, and pull over to harass him again.
I hate a guy with a car and no sense of humor.
But this time, they break his glasses and throw him off a bridge.
He fell.
And as he lays there unconscious, he gets pulled into the sewer by Michael.
Finally, Michael's gonna kill someone.
Unfortunately not. See, since he can't defend himself, Michael lets him sleep it off, and when he wakes up and tries to leave, Michael chokes him from inside a wall that Corey was walking way too close to for no reason.
What's the matter? You don't like my house? My house stink? That's right, it stinks!
And just as you think the story is gonna get good and Corey's gonna die, their eyes meet, and you think for just a second that they might kiss. But then Michael lets him go, and Corey escapes with his life, and then stupidly goes back to the entrance to look to see if he's following him.
Why did he let him live?
Because we're connected.
Well, apparently when he looked in Corey's eyes, he saw all the crap that he's gone through and thought that killing him might actually be doing him a favor. So he let him live his punishment.
Well, I admire anyone who can crawl their way out of the sewer.
But suddenly, a homeless guy pulls a knife on Corey and wants him to go back into the sewer and get Michael's mask for him. So they wrestle, and Corey kills the dude.
I hope you guys have hobo stab insurance.
He then leaves the murder weapon with his prints on it there for anyone to find. I guess he's hoping Michael will clean that up for him. He then goes home, gets cleaned up, and goes to Allison's house to apologize. But Laurie looks out the window and sees him standing on the edge of the property, and she's like, oh my god, Michael used to stand behind bushes just like that. There's gotta be something wrong with that guy.
Did Michael switch bodies with him and now he's gonna kill everyone?
No. She then goes outside to talk to him, but he's not by the bush anymore and pops up behind her because we all know the way to win a woman back is by giving her grandmother a heart attack.
It's just me, not some psycho killer.
But I'm not sure how he snuck up on her when there's nothing to hide behind, and she would have easily seen him over there when she came down the steps. But since the heart attack didn't work, he asks Allison to go on a walk where his big apology opening line is,
I killed someone.
and she's like, okay.
It's not a big deal.
They then break into the house where he killed Jeremy. And while they're doing that, Laurie goes to see Corey's mom, and she says that she blames her for Corey being treated like crap after he was suspected for being a child murderer. So yet again, she just stands there and takes somebody's abuse and then leaves crying.
I thought that she wasn't going to let Michael run her life anymore. So why is she letting these people talk to her like that?
I mean, a psycho meets a freak show.
You pretend like you moved on, but it's bullshit.
Later that night, Corey and Allison are at a diner talking about getting out of town to escape their past, where her ex-boyfriend comes over to the table a little drunk and starts asking her to hang out with him.
I don't mean to be discriminatory, but there is an age limit.
And then starts talking shit about Corey, so he gets up in his face. He goes back to his friends, but he doesn't give up the fight. He follows them and waits until Corey drops Allison off and turns down sex to make his move.
This isn't a man.
But Corey knows that he's following him and heads back under the bridge. He starts his attack by letting the cop find the homeless guy he murdered, and then he jumps him from behind. Corey then runs into the sewer, and Doug follows.
You know, fuck with Doug Mulaney!
And it's a good thing that he didn't bring his gun with him, because Corey's just standing there using himself as bait so Michael can get Doug. Michael cuts his throat, but since neck wounds don't do anything, and he isn't up to full strength, Corey has to jump in and hold Doug down while Michael stabs him.
That pretty much puts a nail in the coffin with that police officer you were dating.
And after a few blows, Michael gets a little stronger, and maybe even gets off a little.
That's what you get when you fuck with the Mulaney's.
Well, Corey wants to get off too, so he goes back to Allison's and is like, hey, rolling around in the sewer didn't take as long as I expected. Is sex still on the table?
You have shit on your back.
And because he got beat up again, you bet your ass it is.
You are so getting dry fucked tonight.
He wakes up in the morning to find his mask from the costume party on her dresser. So he takes it, and that night, he goes out hunting with Michael.
Are you telling me that Michael Myers has an apprentice?
Yeah, he finally met somebody who would help him kill.
Well, what about Dr. Sartain? Why didn't he want to go on a killing spree with him?
He's too old.
Yes, too old to begin the training.
How do you know he didn't? He let him live on the bus. Maybe Sartain helped him escape. I mean, he was willing to kill Frank, but maybe he had to die for the cardinal sin of putting on his mask.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyway, now he knows that Allison's boss is a dick. Hell, we knew that from the couple in the last story.
You would have punched Dr. Mathis in the face.
But this chick Deb got a promotion over Allison because she flirts with the old pervert. And tonight, he brought her back to his place to finally celebrate her getting the job.
I thought it was gonna be like a holiday pizza party with a bunch of coworkers, not an orgy.
But Corey wants to make them pay for screwing her over and kills the doctor.
I just get so excited about all that boogeyman bullshit.
And we see that he still needs some serious training because he looks like a monkey holding a tool for the first time when he can't get to Deb. But Michael comes in and takes care of her with one of his super famous long knives that hold a bunch of weight.
He's just gonna do that stupid head tilt thing.
But we do see that him killing the doctor somehow healed his hand. And like after all his other murders, Corey goes to see Allison, and they have a romantic talk about him killing a child again on top of the roof of the local radio station. So him killing people has improved his vision, but his hand's now reinfected, and I'm guessing it's always gonna be that way from him laying on that goddamn bar floor.
It just sounds disgusting.
He says that he wants to get away from anyone who knows him, but he doesn't want to go alone.
That doesn't make sense.
And after the local DJ gives them both shit about their past, she agrees to go with him. Now Corey's mom isn't very supportive of the idea.
Get out of my house!
But Ronald is.
I hope you find love.
It's now Halloween, and Corey wakes up in the Allen house on the spot where Jeremy landed.
Crash landing!
Oh!
You suck at babysitting.
But he only woke up because Laurie is there to tell him to leave Allison alone.
Hold on. This whole operation was your idea.
And he's like, if I can't have her, no one can.
Does that mean he's gonna kill her?
Well, at this point, I think she's a little too whipped to turn him down. Hold on. Penis whipped? That doesn't sound right. Cockstruck? Dignitized. She's too dignitized to turn him down. He then calls her and says, let's go tonight because your grandma wants to kill me. And Allison immediately believes the guy that she's known for about 3 days.
Sometimes I can't tell the difference between your stupidity and your ignorance.
And since they plan on leaving tonight, he's got some loose ends to tie up. So he goes back to the sewer and beats up Michael and takes his mask.
You expect me to believe that the guy who got beat up by band geeks kicked Michael Myers' ass?
Shut up. Corey's killed more people in this story, so he has more evil death mojo or some crap.
Michael was in the loony bin for 40 years without getting weak. Why all of a sudden is he a giant pussy after 4 years?
Actually, he's been killing since then. There's even a billboard from last Halloween for a missing girl right next to the bridge. Anyway, just accept that Corey won and now has the mask.
Underestimate no one.
So he goes and finds the band geeks and taunts them into following him to the garage.
He teased the man with brain damage and then he snapped.
They decide that they're going to chain his bike to their car and drag it until there's nothing left. But when they tell Billy, the mullet band geek, to start the car, they find him stabbed in the eye. Corey then starts up the tow truck and chases the girls down, and neither one of them are smart enough to hide behind one of the hundreds of cars, instead just staying on the path so the truck can run them over.
I know, right?
Now Stacy makes it over the fence, but Margot's hair isn't aerodynamic enough for her to get to the fence fast enough, and Corey runs her over after she makes it to the other side.
You did something messy.
But Stacy forgets that someone had to drive the truck, and she goes to check on her friend, and she dies.
Ta-ta for now.
Unfortunately, Corey's stepdad can't watch rated R movies at home and stayed late to watch some Van Damme action. And even though he's watching this movie all alone after hours, he's still wearing headphones and can't hear all the screaming outside. And when Terry gets to his window and begs for help, he gives the child a gun. And after he tells Terry to stay inside, he tries to free Margot from under the fence, but Corey comes out and Terry tries to shoot him, but hits Ronald and he dies.
Your fault. It was your idea.
So Terry tries to get Margot out, and Corey easily takes the gun from him and makes him eat fire.
That sounds disgusting. I'm not gonna try that.
And now that there's no one left to save Margot, he steps on her head and runs her over again. And then he goes to kill the DJ after he makes a pit stop at home to kill his mom.
Well, I know that his mom sucked, but why did he kill the DJ?
Well, this one called him ugly, so he wants revenge.
It's gonna make you sad even if you don't think it does.
But sadly, this is the only character in the whole story that seems to think that Michael was gonna come back.
This boogeyman's been sitting in hibernation, but trust me, y'all, he'll be back!
So he starts off by killing his secretary, who's just now decorating for the holiday that will be over in 3 hours.
There, I would just put up a Christmas tree instead.
And then he breaks the DJ's jaw, and then cuts off his tongue, and he dies.
Y'all get the hell up off my property before I fuck y'all up.
Laurie tries to call Allison to convince her not to leave town, but she doesn't answer and is already at the diner waiting for him. Since this doesn't work, she decides to go upstairs and eat a bullet. Well, 2 hours later. But she calls 911 first to report it before she pulls the trigger. And now Corey's genius plan is foiled. See, he told Allison to meet him at the diner so she would be out of the house when he killed Laurie. And I guess he figured that she was dignitized enough to wait for him for hours.
I'm going home. You can figure your own shit out.
Corey comes in and finds out that she pulled a sneaky and just shot a pumpkin. And then she shoots him and he falls to the first floor. But when she goes down there, she empties the gun and tells him to kill her. So he picks up the knife, but he hears Allison pull up because he never fixed her car. And he's like, if I can't have her, no one can. And he stabs himself in the neck.
What are you trying to kill yourself?
Well, but if he's dead, then anybody can have her.
This is true. Except his plan was to make it look like Laurie killed him to make sure that she couldn't have her either. Only problem is that she had a gun and he was dressed like Michael Myers on Halloween, so why would she need to stab him? But Allison comes in and immediately believes this bullshit setup.
Idiot.
Well, to be fair, she believes it because Laurie stupidly pulled out the knife and was holding it over his twitching body when Allison walked in.
Guys think I'm too smart.
But Allison comes in and sees this and is like, "Grandmother, what have you done?"
So you did that on purpose.
What?
And when she goes to Corey, he's still alive because, again, neck wounds don't kill you.
He's still alive.
So you'd think with her being a nurse, she'd try to save his life. But instead of trying to plug the wound or be there while he bleeds out, she just leaves. Then Laurie notices that the back door is open, and we see Michael pick up his mask. And when he goes to get his knife, Corey grabs him, so Michael breaks his neck, and he dies.
It's your own fault, and I don't feel a bit sorry for you.
Laurie hears this commotion and locks Michael in the house. Allison gets a call from Frank asking if Laurie's okay because she called in a suicide, so she heads back to the house.
Did he really send her to find the body of the one family member she had left?
Yep.
Just because your intentions are good doesn't mean things always work out.
It seems that Laurie is luring Michael into the kitchen by reheating some leftovers and is able to attack him with a fire extinguisher when they explode. So now it's the showdown we've all been waiting for.
Fight night, the greatest gladiator match in the history of the world.
A pie-baking, sweater-knitting grandmother who's moved on versus a handicapped geriatric with a kindergarten education that never gave a shit about her. But since they're in the same house, they're like, might as well.
And you will battle him to the death.
It seems that Michael has the upper hand for a while and even blocks her trusty knitting needle attack and reverses it on her. But she knows to go for the mask, and when he's trying to put it back on, she stabs him in the hand. She then pushes him on the island, where she stabs him and then knife nails him to the butcher block. She also pulls down the refrigerator to trap his leg. She grabs the biggest knife she has and stabs him in the armpit, and then takes off his mask and cuts his neck.
Uh-oh. Neck stabs don't work.
No, they don't. And since the only pain he feels is when Corey beats him up, he rips his hand right out of the knife and strangles her. And she might be kinda into it.
Do it.
But Allison ruins her kink and rushes in to break the hold and Michael's arm. She then cuts his wrist, and he dies. The cops finally show up.
Where have you guys been? I called for backup 10 minutes ago.
And let Frank in first, because the cops will always allow a concerned citizen onto a crime scene before they clear it.
It's about time.
The cops then allow the two women to take Michael's body and tie it to the roof of Allison's car and drive it through town with a Code 2 police escort to the junkyard. And apparently they already cleared the bodies from earlier, since the cops have to remove a roadblock to not only let Laurie and Allison in, but everyone in town who's still awake.
How are the cops okay with this?
This is no time for prudence.
Surprisingly, only one isn't. The rest think this is exactly what the town needs to heal.
Just tell your men to keep their mouths shut and their eyes open.
Now, of course, they might not think that after they allowed this many people to not only witness this, but to also let them body surf Michael up to the edge of a meat grinder for cars so Laurie can push him in.
Evil dies tonight!
That ought to kill him.
And if that wasn't bad enough, Laurie documents all of this in detail as the final chapter of her book. But considering all this got reported to the news, it seems like nobody gives a shit. And now that all of this stuff is behind him, Allison decides that she's gonna leave town, and Frank finally makes a move on Laurie. Did you hit the like button?
What difference does it make?
It makes a big difference.
That's how YouTube puts this video out in front of more people. That and hitting the subscribe button.
You could hear those monsters say, hey goo, you're cool, at the midnight monsters drop.
Hope he's better at childcare than he is at yard work. No pressure.
Yeah, I'll sure give it a shot, little dude.
Crash landing! Boom!
Oh! That's actually pretty disgusting and probably not appropriate for kids.